During the late 18th century, Britain's cotton production far exceeded that of any other country. The reason for this was mostly advanced technology. In 1768, James Hargreaves perfected the spinning jenny. What exactly is a spinning jenny? Well, it was basically a machine that helped the user produce yarn. It was a revolutionary invention at the time because it allowed the person working the machine to spin multiple balls of yarn instead of just one. The machine itself did not make items out of yarn, but simply produced the yarn needed to make the items. At the time, Britain was selling cotton products at such a high rate that the yarn supply could not keep up with the demand. The spinning jenny was the first step in speeding up the process of yarn production. More innovators continued to improve yarn production. In the same year that Hargreaves perfected the spinning jenny, Richard Arkwright invented the spinning frame. This machine could produce stronger yarn and was powered by water instead of manpower. This earned it the nickname the water frame. In 1779, Samuel Crompton invented the spinning mule, a device that combined elements of the spinning jenny and the spinning frame. This new innovation allowed the user to produce different types of yarn. With the production of yarn speeding up, cloth weaving also needed an improvement. In 1787, Edmund Cartwright answered the call by perfecting the power loom. This machine presented a more efficient way to make cotton products. While engines that ran on steam were not the invention of James Watt, in 1775 he made the first modern, reliable steam engine. His innovation came after he noticed that a typical steam engine wasted power in heating and cooling processes. Watt found that the use of a separate condenser for cooling would allow the cylinder to remain hot. Importantly, these engines were powered by coal, so they did not need to be located near bodies of water as earlier machines had. This allowed factory owners greater control over where they would locate their factories. Soon, Watt's design was the preferred type for factory use. Transportation improvements were essential to the success of the Industrial Revolution. Goods needed to be transported to markets, and supplies needed to be shipped to factories. New roads and canals were built in England from 1760 to 1830. However, these systems were soon overshadowed by the railroads. It might be surprising that the earliest railroad tracks existed in German coal mines in the 1500s. Originally, the tracks were used to help horses pull carts filled with coal. This method was common in Britain and continental Europe until Richard Trevithick invented the first steam-powered locomotive on an industrial line in 1804. This early engine moved along at only 5 miles per hour. With the new factories springing up, the demand for better ways to produce iron also increased. During this time, the production of iron changed drastically. New ways to smelt iron ore, based on the use of cork or coke, a fuel made by slowly burning coal, were used. Since coke could heat iron much faster than charcoal, the amount of iron increased. In the 1780s, Henry Cort pioneered a process called puddling, which produced raw iron, a much better product. This process used coke to burn away the impurities in iron, making a stronger final product. This iron could be rolled into rails and other products while it was still hot. The new iron was used in industrial machines and in the construction of new railroad lines, which helped to further expand the Industrial Revolution. The first Industrial Revolution was not the result of any single event or movement. Rather, many elements came together to allow the possibility of change. The inventions of this time period were a large part of the picture. Without many of these innovations, the rapid progress in industry may not have been possible. Plus, each advance in one area influenced others. For instance, improvements in transportation allowed more products to be transported to and from factories. Changes in yarn production methods caused a spike in the production of cotton products. Also, technology used in cotton production could be adapted to other industrial machines. Many inventions of this time sped up the production of goods and allowed the expansion of markets. For instance, the cotton industry moved by leaps and bounds thanks to the work of people like James Hargreaves, whose spinning jenny produced more yarn. Richard Arkwright further improved yarn production by creating a machine that made stronger yarn and ran by water power instead of manpower. Samuel Crompton's spinning mule combined the best elements of the previous two designs and made a spinning mule that could produce different types of yarn. Edmund Cartwright's power loom provided a way to produce finished cotton products more efficiently. And with Watt's advancements in the steam engine, factories continued to produce more products. Innovations in the iron industry, such as the development of raw iron, made possible by Henry Cort's puddling method, were used in industrial machines. And lastly, improvements in transportation, made possible by Richard Trevithick's steam powered locomotive, created a network of supply lines and markets. This period of technological growth continued to influence the work patterns and development of cities in European society, and would eventually lead to a second industrial revolution.